So I don't think that I'm trespassing here, but just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna go for a really quick landscape painting. Look at this location. The sun is also starting to hit me, and it's already like 90 degrees this morning. It's only like 6:30. But I'm gonna go quick, try to do a quick landscape.
One of the main reasons why I came to this location in Colombia is because of how beautiful the landscapes look. There's a lot of the elements that you want for a good landscape composition. These cacti in the foreground, columnar cacti, they're the perfect extreme foreground element to create overlap. And then look at how many layers of mountains there are in the background. This Santa Marta mountain range is incredible for that. Especially when it's hot, sweat and oils from your skin can get on your paper and mess up watercolor and ink. I noticed myself starting to sweat a lot, so I'm going to put on my sun gloves. Other thing you can do is make sure you have long sleeves, because look how your forearm rubs on your paper. Another important thing, depending on what type of sketchbook you use, could be your legs. Are your legs rubbing on the back of your paper? You might not realize right away the effect that this is having, but later when you try to do watercolor, there will be this weird resist. The oils and the sweat from your skin can cause the paper to block watercolor and mess up even washes. For this landscape painting, I'm deciding to try to capture the morning light. So instead of painting the sky blue, which it actually isn't blue in this case, I'm painting it this pale quinacridone gold color. It's a diluted quinacridone gold. I'm trying to create that feeling of the golden light haloing things. Everything else is quite a bit darker, so I'm putting in this purple wash to unify the other elements.
So my time is limited here as it's heating up. I was originally planning on doing a really quick painting. It's going a little bit slower than I was originally planning. That happens, and as it heats up, not only am I starting to sweat, but it's also starting to heat up this poop that's near here. And unfortunately, I think it's partly because of the fishermen that are working out here. Sometimes they're just pooping in the bushes. But here's a pro tip. This plant looks like it's in the mint or verbena family. Actually, I think it's in the Lipia genus, which is the Mexican oregano genus. And I'm just going to take a little bit of this and stuff the leaves up my nose, or at least crumple them. So sometimes just finding a little bit of a natural cover scent can help, just in case you happen to find yourself painting a watercolor landscape near human feces.
So I should have tried to do an alla prima landscape painting where you just get all the watercolor in one go. Instead, I'm doing glazing. So that's very careful layering and letting one layer of watercolor dry before you put another layer on top. This technique is super helpful for creating the illusion of depth and atmospheric perspective. So you can see that these furthest mountains are going to be paler than the foreground mountains. And since there's so many layers of those, I can do it little by little moving forward. You also have to be careful with the ocean color and make sure it's dark enough and different enough from the sky. The vegetation color here, this green, is tricky because I want to add texture for all the trees, but too much texture takes away from the chunks. Now, the tricky part and most important is going to be these foreground elements. Foreground elements should have the most detail, the most darkness, the most contrast, the most saturation, and the most warmth. Those are the elements of atmospheric perspective. Now it's just time for a few final touches. I'm going to get some color in on these rocks, and I also want to add texture to the ocean. The ocean didn't look quite as dark as I needed it to be. Remember, value, the difference between light and dark, is one of the most important things. There we go. Yay! Can we go home and eat breakfast now?
Whew, okay, I had to sit uncomfortably close to some yucky smelling stuff, but I think it was worth it. The sun was beating on me. There was cool birds in the background. I saw a life bird while painting this, which is really cool. A pearly vented toddy flycatcher. I didn't get to see its pearly vent, but that sounds intriguing. I tried to capture the morning light here coming through the cactus and over this amazing Sierra de Santa Marta, which is this mountain range here that goes straight into the ocean. There's snow-capped peaks not that far from tropical beaches with cactus. This is a unique place in the world. There is quite a bit of human impact, but I think we've got to nature journal that too sometimes, and that's the reality of the world that we live in. So I feel pretty good about the result. Had to work to capture the light. This is a classic example of, I said I was going to do a really quick one, but I defaulted to the way that I regularly paint landscapes. So I think it's important to develop the ability to control how fast, like as if it were a slider on the volume, control the speed at which you do a landscape painting or any type of drawing in your nature journal. Can you do it if you only have 5 minutes? Can you do a 15-minute one or a 20-minute one or a 30-minute one if you know you have that much time? So I slightly failed in that department, but that's something that I want to work on, and I think you should work on too.
Bye. See you next week. Check out my Patreon for more exclusive content.